We love getting your questions, so we want you to keep them coming via Facebook, Twitter, and on our webpage. Who knows, we might just answer your question here in the studio audience next.
My 10-year-old son, Cameron, he's rude, disrespectful, does not like authority at all. Cameron was kicked out of 10 daycares for spitting and biting. He would spit in the face of the daycare director. He recently got in trouble for calling someone the B word and the N word frequently. Recently, Cameron was kicked out of 5th grade because he cursed out a student and they said that he elbowed him. He will look me in the eye and say he's not saying these things, but he has like 4 or 5 detentions and witnesses. I've made a lot of sacrifices for Cameron. I've had to switch jobs, change careers. I've lost friends because of his behavior. He's just really inappropriate. He'll apologize and then go back to doing the same thing over and over. Cameron was recently diagnosed with ADHD, oppositional defiance disorder, and Tourette's, but I don't agree with any of the diagnoses. Cameron is the way that he is because I'm either too lenient or I just don't believe in any of this ADHD stuff. So maybe it might be my fault that he is the way he is. I'm worried that he might spiral down the wrong road, and I want to do something like right now to make sure that he has a good future.
Wow, well, that was our guest, Ray, who is joining us now on the stage. So, Ray, welcome. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So what do you think is wrong with Cameron?
I think he just has bad behavior, and he's picked up these behaviors from observing people around him, possibly family members. I was raised African, so we don't behave like that, but his other side, they kind of speak to their mother really rude and disrespectful, and I wasn't raised to behave like that, so I think it's like a cultural thing that he needs to get over. I think it's also the teachers. When he's around me or African teachers, he doesn't behave that way.
Tell me what you think the difference, because I heard you mention African versus, are we talking American cultural versus like literally continental Africa, or what are we talking about?
I'm Ugandan, so we have certain expectations of our children. I pulled both of my sons out because my older son was misbehaving also too, around 2nd grade. He improved, but I put them in a school in Uganda for 6 months. They didn't have any behavioral issues there at all. Their grades went up. They were motivated to be top of class. They spent 2 to 3 hours a night studying. They wanted to be the best.
For a school to kick out a child, it has to be bad.
Right.
So, and twice. So at this point, if I'm you, and trust me, being a parent is the hardest job there is. And a single parent, I can't even, I bow down to you. It's difficult. But if I'm looking at this, I have to look at my child and not make any excuses for him. He needs to be 100% accountable. Even though he's only in 5th grade, he has to be accountable for what is happening. Because then there's going to be a lifetime of excuses laid out for him. And that's just what worries me.
Right, I agree, and that's why I want to do something right now, because I don't want to feel like I'm the one who's allowing him to behave like that, because I've taken away sports, everything. He doesn't have anything extra. I just don't know what to do at this point, and I've seen him with good behaviors, and so I know he knows what he's doing, so I just, something is missing.
I think it's a good time to introduce someone that we brought here. And so right now I want to introduce Dr. Charles Sophie, who is the medical director for the LA County Department of Child and Family Services. He was backstage observing Ray and Cameron. And Dr. Sophie, what do you see?
Honestly, I see a really loving mother, somebody who really cares about her children. And I didn't see an out-of-control child by any means. And I watched him with a iPad or something that had him engaged for a while, which is typical for a boy at that age. And then I had her take it away so I could watch him, and he got a little more wiggly and a little bit unruly, but she was able to guide him. But I could also see that you're tired and that it doesn't take long. Your tolerance for him is like, knock it off.
Yeah, I don't have very high tolerance for him.
So what would be your recommendation for her when she leaves here today, these right now steps? Right now she has these 3 diagnoses, the ADHD, the oppositional defiant disorder, and the Tourette's. And you say that you don't see any of them, and she's had another clinician that says, yes, he has all 3, and let's start with medications. What would your best professional advice be for her today?
First of all, I would make sure he's sleeping at night, that he falls asleep and stays asleep, and it's quality sleep. Make sure he's eating well And then you're starting school in a couple of weeks, I would imagine. And so get on a better path with the teacher so that you have a back and forth of work and accountability. And then I'm happy to talk to you about some of the things we could put into the house to help you discipline and follow through and raise your tolerance and probably get more consistency throughout the house. Once that's done, then we'll see what's residual, and then we can start to label.
Dr. Sophie is offering you practical, professional solutions. Are you willing to accept that gift, or would you like to try some other alternatives on your own?
I'm willing to accept those gifts, and I appreciate your help. I really do. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I see where he gets the defiance from. It's subtle,
Yes.
but you got it.
Yes.
Yes, you do.
I
can
do.
see it. I mean, a lot of stuff we've said you've kind of done like this. It's boom, 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 boom. You just bounce it right back to us. And so I got to think that some of that mirrors out.
Right. That's true.
It's the positive, and so I think Tracy was onto something, and you need to look at your part in this as a parent.
Right.
Because you seem really bright. You probably you know a lot about culture. You probably know a lot about parenting. You probably know about the kid. You know, you basically took a doctor's advice and said, I don't agree with it.
And like you said, it takes a village. All you're doing is adding one more professional assistant to your village.
Right. That's true.
So the way you see it has to be different. Culture is broad. Embrace it all.
Right. Right.
It's only going to help them in the end. So thank you so much today, Ray, for sharing your message. And Dr. Sophie, thank you so much for being here today. There's more when we come back. Stick around. We love getting your questions, so we want you to keep them coming via Facebook, Twitter, and on our webpage. Who knows, we might just answer your question here in the studio audience next.